because Facebook will find it for you, or when you blink.
I
Hey, everybody.
This the entire show.
How long shall we stay like that? Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh yeah, the last thumbnail that Chuck and I had, I was doing like this, and Chuck was had his eyes closed
I'm
or something.
purposely making faces.
Yeah.
Okay, let's why?
Problem?
Yes. Facebook wants to show me the topic as Trek page as the topic is Trek, but I can't even change profiles in the icon in the upper corner.
Yeah, when I went to it listed like a bunch of things, and I clicked on my name and it took me to my page. It's like, well, that was not what I was planning to do.
Yeah.
Can I just reload Facebook.com and come back as Chuck Tomasi? No. Oh, I have to switch characters. They're making it harder to own a page.
They are.
It's really annoying.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you've been updated. I'm like, I don't want it.
Yeah. Update. Oh, that's always good.
Well, it says, would you like to review? And if I say no, it comes back the next time. It says, you're going to review pretty much. You have no choice.
But it
again, there it is. Review changes on your page. I just did.
But even after you do that, it says what you're supposed to do to change the profile, and it doesn't seem to work. So
we're going to start streaming on something else.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, before we get started, I know people might be seeing this on Facebook, but one of our Dog Days of Podcasting guys, Tim C. Smith, he got he was run over on his bike. He does a lot of running and biking and a lot of healthy.
This thumbnail, I look like Garth from Wayne's World.
What?
the thumbnail they gave us.
No. Yeah,
this is a pretty cool podcast, guys.
Yeah, well, he was riding his bike and he got hit by a car. I don't know the whole circumstances around that,
no.
But the picture he showed he had on Facebook the other day, I was scrolling by and I went, what the heck? He's sitting there in the hospital bed and he's got a gash on his head and he looked pretty bad off. I know his family was there helping him out.
Blame it on the hurricane.
He's in pretty good spirits, so he'll and he's in good health, so he'll turn it around pretty quick, I'm sure. But yeah, just send some good vibes his way, Tim C. Smith.
Yeah, that's not cool. I hope that at least the person stopped.
Yes, what I'm saying. I don't know any of the particulars other than what we shared on Facebook, so I hope so too, because that's It even shows the pictures of he doesn't remember the helicopter ride or anything.
Ooh, that's not good.
So,
alrighty,
right, shall we begin?
We shall.
Yeah.
Okay, hitting record in 5, 4, 3.
This is The Topic is Trek, episode 124 for Friday, September 30th, 2022. Coming up in this episode, no 2023 Christmas present for Trek fans. It's almost Fleet Week. We are in awe of some pylons. All that and more right now on The Topic is Trek. Pining for more Star Trek. Welcome to The Topic is Trek, the podcast that runs on impulse power. Join us for a journey where no show has gone before. If it has to do with Star Trek, there's a good chance we'll talk about it sooner or later, because on this show, the topic is Trek. Engage already. Well, hello, everyone. And you missed a magic trick if you were just listening to the audio portion of our show this evening. I'm Clinton, one of your co-hosts here on The Topic is Trek. And of course, to be a co-host, I have to have other hosts. That's how it works. And beaming in to join me from parts unknown is Mr. Craig Stepp with the hip new catchphrase for today.
Dabo!
timely, but not no.
It's on theme at least.
Yeah, it's on point.
There you go.
You got that much going for you.
That's right.
And also Mr. Chuck Tomasi.
I hazard a guess as to what's coming next week.
Well, it was either between Dabo or I'm a doctor, not an escalator. So there you go.
That's next week.
This next week. I'll use that one next week.
Well,
Write that down.
happy
Yeah.
35th anniversary for Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah,
Oh
same
my
to you
goodness,
guys.
Are we that old?
Oh, more so than that. You know, when every time I see the anniversary for a Star Trek franchise, I go, "Oh my goodness, it's been that long." Okay.
Mission
I
at
love it when-
Farpoint was 35 years ago today.
Yeah. I love it when people come and go, "Oh, I used to watch DS9 when I was a little kid." Like, so did my kids.
Yeah. Right. Well, there was a time when I remember going out with this lady, and I made a joke about Mr. Ed, and she said, "Who?"
Oh no.
Oh, moving on, moving on.
And then you went to explain it, and she said, "Are you high?"
Yeah.
And then she went and looked up animal cruelty.
And only that one guy could hear the horse talk, huh? Was
That's
that
right.
you? No,
Yeah.
it wasn't me.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah.
Well, on this show, the topic is not Mr. Ed. The topic is Trek. So we're about to begin Subspace Chatter. And as you know, it's tradition. And it traditionally does not go well because we are going to check in with Charlie, good old Charlie X. I'm going to ask the age-old question. Charlie, are we good to go with Subspace Chatter?
You don't need all that subspace chatter.
Son
I
of a.
think we need to have like a chant going before, like, we need chatter. We
Yeah.
need chatter.
Right.
You think it will sway him? I don't know. Well, let's get into Subspace Chatter regardless of what Charlie X wants. First up, Paramount has removed that untitled Star Trek sequel from its upcoming film slate.
Oh boy.
The project, produced by J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, had been scheduled to hit theaters on December 22nd, 2023. The move seemed inevitable after director Mark Shackman left the project to helm Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot,
Mm-hmm.
where he will actually be filling the shoes of Spider-Man No Way Home director John Watts, who left that film back in April.
It's like shuffling directors.
It is. And if you've lost track, Shackman is the fourth director to have signed on and then exited from what is often referred to as Star Trek 4. But
One with the
not-
whales?
No, not the one with the whales.
Star Trek Forever.
Yes, or never the
Never.
other.
It will be the year 2485 or whatever it is by the time they get this done.
Yeah, so just say current day as it begins to crawl.
Start date today. This is
Yeah,
a documentary.
The movie star dates are going to overlap with real star dates.
That's right. So the other directors have included Noah Hawley, Quentin Tarantino, and S.J. Clarkson, who would have been Trek's first female movie director. But they've all moved on to other things. Back in February, Abrams announced during the Paramount Global Investor Day presentation that a new Trek movie, quote, will be filming by the end of the year, close quote, and would feature the Kelvin Universe cast. One problem with that was, according to insiders, Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, and the rest of the cast had not yet officially signed on for the movie when Abrams made the announcement.
It was news to them
Details.
too. It was news to them too.
So that left Paramount with less than a year to secure the in-demand actors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, Trek is not the only franchise having some difficulties with a December 2023 date. Star Wars Rogue Squadron was also scheduled for next December, but was pulled 2 weeks ago. And that leaves James Wan's Aquaman sequel as the last of the three franchises holding on to the date. Given the state of DC Cinematic Universe, don't go buying your tickets for that one either.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, Star Trek is in the middle of a small screen renaissance with 5 series in rotation on Paramount Plus, which may be where it needs to stay for a while, and that might be fine because it could lead to a big screen adaptation of one of the streaming shows. More on this story as it develops.
Well, Danny Hillcrest isn't going to have much to talk about next year.
No, everything's out of the theaters.
He's only going to have one movie.
That's right.
That's okay. He makes up the rest.
Yeah.
All right, Chuck, what do you got to say in
Well,
news?
speaking of Paramount Plus, it appears that the idea of all of Star Trek under one roof, unquote, may not last for long. According to the Daily Star Trek News, Paramount Plus has quietly put 9 of the Star Trek films, that's most of them that we know, onto their enjoy before they're gone list.
Oh gosh,
Is that actually a playlist on Paramount Plus? I haven't found it, but then
I
again,
haven't seen that either.
their UI is not all that good, and I don't go digging around for much
Yeah.
more. That means that at some point in the probably not too distant future, the following films will be leaving the streaming service: Star Trek: The Motion Picture, including both the theatrical and director's cut;
Oh,
Search for Spock; Voyage Home. Hey, they skipped over Wrath of Khan. Interesting. Search for Spock, Voyage Home, Final Frontier, The Undiscovered Country, Generations: First Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis. Yikes. So, watch them again before they're gone.
I have a feeling they had some pre-existing contracts, for moving them around on streaming, because they would kind of moving them around before Paramount Plus came around a little bit.
Yeah, I was just hoping that once they got them all back again, that was the end of it. But it seems not. And really, I'm disappointed because, it's like one of their main things. And here it is. They've lost. They'll be, giving up 9 of the movies.
Yeah,
It just seems weird.
It is weird.
It's that selection, though. Again, no, they're keeping Wrath of Khan.
According to this.
Why Paramount? Why?
I don't know, but I will say I did watch the motion picture again, the director's cut, the other day, and I really do like that more as a definitive version of that movie.
Did you figure out why the creator has not answered yet?
No, I'm still waiting on a call myself.
It's dial-up. That's what
It's dial up.
It was in the 70s.
He was trying to hook up the phone line.
That's
what
right.
Decker was doing.
It was a modem.
Yeah. Well, speaking of
Trek.
I don't know. Yeah, Trek. IDW has announced its new Star Trek comic series that will be a direct sequel to Deep Space Nine, which we'll be talking about that a little bit too. The new comic could answer some questions fans have had since the show ended. Of course, the biggest mystery is what happened to Benjamin Sisko. Why would they ask that?
I have no idea.
Because they asked it on the cartoon.
Yeah. Well, the reason is that he was last seen embracing his role as the emissary for the godlike wormhole aliens known as the Prophets. But the exact nature of Sisko's fate was left open-ended. Now, in the comic, Benjamin Sisko has returned from the Bajoran wormhole with a task from the Prophets. I think we've said the Prophets a lot in this reading.
So the Ferengi.
Yeah. Something in the Star Trek universe is hunting down and killing the galaxy's godlike beings, and again, the Prophets have put their faith in Sisko. Stopping him again. What?
Say Prophets, take a drink.
Yeah, that's right. The Prophets. The cover art for issue number 1 shows the Next Generation's Dr. Beverly Crusher and Lieutenant Data, Commander Data, all will be joining Sisko on his voyage aboard a new vessel, the USS Theseus. Beyond that, the creators of the series promise the new comic line will tie into everything else Trek, ranging from the original series to Voyager and beyond.
Beyond what?
Or that means
Kelvin timeline.
Star Trek Beyond? I don't know.
Yeah.
When is issue number 1 coming out, Craig?
October 26th, which is not that far away. About a month, just a little less than a month. Hey, by the way, I did read that episode 400 that came out, a month ago, and that was really cool. They had some extra other cover art that was included with that. I think we talked about that a little bit, and it was cool to see some of those variations. But the stories are really cool, especially the one with Wesley Crusher and
that Will Wheaton wrote that one, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah,
he did, and it kind of brings to light his character a little bit more as a traveler. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it, and I encourage everybody to go check it out.
Yeah, and I've downloaded the first couple of issues of the Lower Decks comic, so I'm going to be
Oh yeah, that's on my
cruising
list
through
too.
those,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll give a report on what that's like, because to
And
me that's a tough. It's going to be a tough one to pull off that same kind of feel, but we'll see how they do.
I saw some people saying they really liked it, so maybe you'll like it as well. The on the issue 400, there were some. It was okay. There was because they had stories from each of the, I guess, several series, and the Lower
Yeah,
Decks
it's hard
one,
to cover them all, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, all 12 of them. The Lower Decks one was pretty good, but I really did like the cover art that they had, because it was Lower Deck style, where they threw in about every little Easter egg that you could think of into that cover. It was pretty cool. Even Ensign Harry Kim was still an ensign, and
Yeah, Garrett, I'm sure, is really pleased about that part of it.
That's right. That's right.
All right, and finally, block off your calendar for October 10th through 15th. Cryptic Studios, the creators of Star Trek Online, and Modifius, author of the Star Trek Adventures tabletop role-playing game, have announced Star Trek Fleet Week. It will be a celebration of the Trek starships.
Cool.
Participants in the event's Admiralty Day streaming event include Dr. Aaron McDonald and Dr. Mohammed Noor, science advisors on Star Trek Discovery; John Eves, a concept artist who has designed 3 Enterprises and worked on the Star Trek franchise for over 30 years; Bonnie Gordon, the voice of the USS Protostar on Star Trek Prodigy; Rick Sternbach, a concept artist and science advisor who designed the USS Voyager; and Andrew Jarvis, an artist for Star Trek Picard.
Cool.
Other live streams and panels are scheduled throughout the week, and all the Fleet Week events will be live streamed on Cryptic Studios' Twitch channel. And we have links for you. Just look for the show notes for episode 124 over at thetopicistrek.com.
I'm looking for him, but I don't actually see him yet. Oh, wait, we haven't posted the show yet.
Yes.
You're looking at the show notes before anyone else.
I am.
An advanced preview.
The ink is still wet.
That's right.
And in Vulcan, Alberta, Canada news, don't have anything, so I put up an article. I'm not going to read through it. How about this one? Town Council approves rezoning of 3 lots along Cottonwood Drive.
Oh, this
There you
invites
go.
Clinton. No,
It does, but we're not going to have it here. It's just
It's
tempers will flare. It just won't be a good thing,
so,
I know,
it's that whole Romulans get this lot and the Klingons get that lot.
that's a lot.
there's a neutral zone in the middle
have
somewhere.
a neutral zone between the two.
That's where the 3 comes in. There's the one in the middle is neutral zone.
Mhm. Didn't take a genius to figure this out, City Council.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a lot of things that we talked about, and you can check those out in the show notes. But we have links to 55 additional stories broken out by series, movies, and other categories.
Whoops, wrong one.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Thank you. Not Eric's. We've just added a new category, I guess, unfortunately, called Passings, with the first story being about the death of movie icon and Star Trek villain you love to hate, Kai Wynn, Louise Fletcher, who just passed away. So we don't often dwell on that type of thing, but I do get notices for that. And I thought, well, let's have a place for those so they don't kind of get lost in the shuffle of all the other articles. So
I actually felt bad posting that meme where it said the original Space Karen, and it had her, her face. I was like, I started feeling bad about posting that another week.
Your fault, Step. It's all your fault.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
That's all right. These hurricanes are Donna's fault. She went.
Really?
Yeah, she went on a cruise from New Jersey up to Halifax. Comes home, hurricane hits Canada. She was just in Orlando. Comes home, hurricane hits Orlando.
All right, so we need to send all our bills to Donna. Okay, got it.
Well, I'm thinking whenever we go on these trips, we should just buy up all the water and toilet paper and sell it back to them a week later. We'll be fine.
You heard it here first, people. The Ferengi in Chuck comes out right there.
This is the first you've heard that I'm a capitalist pig. You're missing out.
Right.
All right. But now comes my favorite part of the show, when I get to say to Charlie, Goodbye, Charlie.
I want to stay.
Did we ever figure out what the X stands for? Is he related to Malcolm X?
No, I think it stands for Express.
That would be a good
Express.
joke. What do Charlie X and Malcolm X have? in
Charlie
common?
Xavier. There you go.
Charlie Professor X. That's right.
Yeah, well, that's what Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
That was his.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought it was
All
just
right.
because he had the X on his wheelchair wheels.
No.
It was-
Although it's weird in Atlanta to go over the manhole.
Manhole covers, they have that
look
pattern.
exactly like that.
oh yeah, that's
Very
right.
odd. All right. Let's start on our main mission with an appropriate sound effect.
Decisions. That one?
Alert.
No, not that one.
No.
Alert.
We haven't played that one in a while.
And then we're gone. All three of us just
Yeah.
disappear.
We're upside down and flip out of
Just
here.
Spin a pizza cutter in your hand and call it a day.
Right.
Gamma quadrant or something. All right, close enough. Well, we're going to be talking about the latest 2 episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks. So this is your warning that there will be spoilers.
Oh, that I can do.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler.
It's been plussed.
Ow.
Duplexing.
I'm getting hurdy brain.
All right. Let's begin with Craig. Tell us about the first episode we're going to be discussing.
All right. Star Trek Lower Decks, of course. Season 3, Episode 5, Reflections, written by Michael McMahon. And Michael is, of course, Mike McMahon is, of course, the creator of Star Trek Lower Decks. This is his 5th episode where he's credited as the writer. His previous scripts were for the opening and closing episodes of Season 1 and Season 2. But McMahon's first script for Star Trek was actually the Harry Mudd-centric Short Treks episode. I did not realize that or forgot. The Escape Artist. McMahon has also created the series Solar Opposites as a writer and story editor for Rick and Morty, and even wrote 2 episodes of Axe Cop. I've seen
Which
that
is
before.
probably not a very hard thing to write.
No, I've seen that before. Director Michael Mullen. This is his 2nd time directing an episode of Trek. His first gig was Lower Decks episode, The Least Dangerous Game, from earlier in the season. Mullins has directed numerous episodes of the animated series, including Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous, Kung Fu Panda, The Dragon Knight, and Rugrats. Didn't see the relationship there, but okay.
Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Yeah, so here's the short synopsis. Mariner and Boimler work the Starfleet recruitment booth at the alien. I'm laughing just thinking about it. At the alien job fair, Rutherford has to literally challenge himself in a battle for survival.
Okay, so this episode, I feel like we're going into this pattern with Lower Decks where you kind of have that little slump for a bit, and then all of a sudden it comes back and goes, okay, now we've lit the candle and here we go.
Yeah.
And I think this was the first episode of that, because this episode was jam-packed with things big and small going on.
Yeah, even Boimler cutting on everybody. he wasn't letting.
That was at the end. That was at the
I
end.
know,
That's
but I'm
bold
just-
Boimler to you, sir.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think for me, the biggest surprise of this episode was how many of you had forgotten about that whole flashback that, that Rutherford has at the end of season 1 when he's, brought back.
So much so that when they kind of restaged it, I went, oh yeah, because it had been so long. And when we saw it again, like I said, I had that moment like, oh my gosh, yes, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. They were starting to try and address it, or at least stir it back up.
Well, again, we're getting deeper into each character's backstory.
Mhm.
This one, particularly around Rutherford, we get a little bit more about Tendi in the next one, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So I'm really liking this one. The approach they took to Rutherford's story was kind of fun. You're some kind of anaphasic alien, and then later, Dr. Tana goes, nope, no anaphasia here.
I like how there's a test for that now. Going after
Yeah, right.
Crusher, we have a test for this.
Right. Right.
And then Shax calls him Baby Bear. He says, Baby Bear? Is that my nickname? That's
Hey, baby
stupid.
bear. Yeah.
And it's interesting how when he's in sick bay, unconscious, that you have all these characters and they can be loud and brash. And the interesting way to convey the mood of very somber thing is that, Tiana is not making any jokes or not being loud about anything. And Shax is very hushed about, talking, like everybody's just showing concern. And it's like, you now know these characters well enough to know this is a different mood than they're often portrayed in.
Yeah.
Of what's going on. And somebody's getting a phone call apparently at the same time.
I'm
But that's
muting my phone. Sorry.
that's another story.
Rookie, 17 years.
Uh-huh.
So at the beginning of this, we don't know what's going on with Rutherford. We are just as prone to believe that some alien has taken over his body because he's seeing himself now as a reflection in a window.
Anytime the LEDs go from blue to red, it's never good. If you're not seen a dozen different shows about robots going rogue,
exactly.
That's just a standard trope.
Yeah.
I did find it interesting that his reflection could punch himself in the prosthetic eye, and the real Rutherford would go, "Ow!"
Well, I mean, when you think about it, that's just the manifestation, the reflection. So he's actually, doing that. Or
Well,
I think that the implication was mentally he was doing it, and so young Rutherford was feeling it because we didn't see him punch himself. But I think internally he kind of pictured that was what was happening to him.
The storyline also moves the Tendi Rutherford relationship a little further along. I still get this feeling there's something deeper than friendship going on here.
Well, he's still apparently out there dating,
or trying to.
Yeah, or trying to do
the Trill woman.
They've been on 4 dates.
And you still can't remember what department I work in.
That's right.
Although they started dating during the first season, so 4 dates, maybe that is over at this point. I don't know. But yeah, he's really upset when Rutherford, which is kind of confusing. Reflections Rutherford mentions Tendy's name, and so reflections Rutherford,
Red Rutherford and Blue Rutherford.
Yeah. Well, they in the behind the scenes they refer to him as Red Rutherford. So let's do that. Red Rutherford is younger Rutherford.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so
right. We'll say, and then Red Rutherford is pushing her to the ground, which is not sitting well with our good old Rutherford.
We did get to see some of one of the flowers from, what was it, Omicron Persei?
Omicron Ceti 3. Yeah, kept trying to spit out those spores.
Just kept going. That thing was pretty prolific with the spores.
That was funny.
Yes, and we also get there are several instances of this in this episode. Most of them take place at the fair, though, that we'll get to talk about in a bit. But Red Rutherford looks out of the window and sees the nacelles and then says, "Who put engineering down there? That's stupid."
Oh yeah.
Which is what we said. Like the whole internet kind of said that in the beginning of the show. Before the show was out, they showed us pre-show pictures of the Cerritos.
How do they get down there? Well, they have to crawl through the nacelles.
Oh yeah. That's stupid.
But we find out that really what's going on is that Red Rutherford is younger Rutherford who's trapped inside Rutherford's mind because there was an accident that Red Rutherford thinks was elective surgery that Rutherford did to have the implant. And so he feels like Rutherford shoved his younger self off into a corner. But we find out that that's really not the case. But until we find that out, it's a battle for which of them will become dominant and then return out of an unconscious state to be Rutherford.
I did like pears for a minute. I love pears.
That's right. Right.
Yeah, and Red Rutherford was was kind of a jerk. I mean, really, he wasn't
Yeah.
a nice person at
It
all.
was, yeah, exactly. It wasn't like, yeah, it was obviously the departure from the Rutherford we know.
When they came to their resolution at the end, though, I thought it was funny how Red Rutherford but he didn't have the red piece on when they were inside his mind, of course. But he gives it just before he dies, he gives Blue Rutherford, I guess. There you go. Remember, he gives him the Spock
Right.
Katra deal. I'm like, what? And then
Which
he gets more of the memory of what actually happened.
so in this memory,
Yes.
he's working on Red is working on some device. And at first I thought it was, his side project, but no, because it was not the same devices he was working on. And he was having trouble holding it from coming apart, and it explodes. And we see that he is pretty damaged at that point. And he's got the skin ripped off on like a third of his body.
Yeah.
And they bring him into surgery, and a mysterious figure in a Next Generation era uniform.
But not a black badge. I noted that I was looking, is this a Section 31 thing?
Nope.
Like,
It was
nope,
a regular
Yep.
TNG com badge.
Mhm.
Is saying he wants all of the memories erased. That this is going to set them back, and like he's inconvenienced by this whole thing,
Yeah.
and he wants all of his memories erased. And then that leads into the dialogue which you'd already heard before, saying, well, that's going to be an awful lot, and that's going to be a whole personality change. Well, and what if he
back to that
wonders?
story? We're definitely going to be coming back to that story element again.
Oh yeah, I have a feeling that now they've brought it up a second time, I think we're gonna get much further into it, because now people are gonna go, oh, there's really a lot going on here. So what's happening?
Yeah. I like the race that they had.
Yeah, but I thought I wrote that down. No, I didn't. The name of the race.
Rogue planets.
Not yeah.
Yeah, that whole race, they were, and they ended up having to, he ended up having to save the younger himself. He ended
Suddenly,
up
I want
getting-
one of those Delta Flyer uniforms now.
I know, right?
Yeah, they were looking pretty sharp there.
Yeah.
There were a few people on the last cruise that had them.
Oh, really?
There was a whole family. Yeah, it was like mom, dad, and the two little kids had them. It was
Pretty-
pretty sharp.
Pretty soon, that's going to be all the clothes that you take on the cruise.
And
I'll rotate them in and
yeah,
out.
and Red Rutherford's ship was named the Sampakita, which apparently is native flower of the national flower of the Philippines. And I don't know, is
Oh.
Rutherford
They
is that
haven't
where Rutherford's
really
supposed to be
said
from?
anything about. Yeah,
I'm not sure about that. Maybe, I guess.
So that
If
could
they
that
did,
could
I
be the
missed-
tie in there.
good catch. Good catch.
But let's move on to our other story,
Wait,
because
I'm curious. Did you have like a really green thumb, or did you look that up?
no. I Bonnie might have known that. I looked that up.
Oh,
And the other shuttlecraft, the Sequoia, that's a big tree out in California. With
Yes.
hand-drawn artwork on the side.
Right.
Yeah, I thought at first that was a temporary thing that
Nope.
somebody had scrolled it on there, but it's still there. Third season in.
Okay, other half of the story, we have Mariner and Boimler
Well-
get assigned to recruitment. Did you want to cover something else?
Well, no, I was just going to say that they get this assignment, but we get Ransom saying that he does not want to see Mariner step out of that booth, and she
He
better
can
come up
step
with
one
names.
foot out of that booth, or she'll go to Starbase 80. Starbase
What?
80, that's
Ah!
the worst.
Yeah, right.
Which
We
is not
don't
the
know
first
much
mention
about
of
what's
Starbase
on
80.
I want to know more about Starbase 80. Nobody
Right.
liked it.
Do you though? Do you really want? I mean,
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's the worst. So.
Right. Yeah, I guess so. I want to know.
So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Lots of species references in this. When we first see them setting up, you get one of those fish head people that were in TNG with their silver lame.
Played the one of them from Fleetwood Mac. He was one of those aliens in that episode.
They're set up right next to
Yeah.
an independent archaeologist, Petra Aberdeen.
Right, which is kind of weird because that's like a out of mocking the thing with Jennifer Lawrence in it, the trilogy about the Hunger Games. It's,
Oh, yeah.
characters.
Hadn't thought of that. That's a good hook. Uh, and she's just riding Mariner the whole time. So anytime they get a possible recruit, hey, do you like the Borg? Do you want
Yeah.
to be a Borg?
You're signing up for 7 years in a windowless room. What? No.
Come over and be an archaeologist. You never have to go back in time to save the Earth. What? Wait, that only happened like maybe 5 times.
Right. 4, maybe 5 times.
That makes the fans start counting.
Yeah.
Whales.
And I
I
think
know.
5 is lowballing it.
I think so.
Right. That's about right.
My favorite question, and we just talked about this with the uniforms. Why are the uniforms constantly changing?
And Boimler is starting to explain it all and gets cut off and going, no, let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah. He was going to explain the whole thing.
My
That's right.
my explanation is so they can sell more merchandise.
Yes, except they don't
Cosmart,
sell the uniforms.
Kozer Mart wouldn't have anything to sell if they only had one product.
Because he was starting to say that the uniforms that they're wearing were on the California class, and like he was going to say another class, but he got cut off.
Yeah.
But he gets to point out, like, we get this neat
this
flap.
I was actually I was leaning into it going, okay, what's he going to say? Oh, they cut him off.
Yep. And then he loses it.
Because
you knocked off they could wear jewelry. You knocked off my pip.
they took it, picked it off of him, threw it in the street, and stepped on it.
Ugh.
So Boimler goes
disrespectful.
ballistic.
Yeah. And
Mariner's trying to talk him down.
right, which is really a change for the rest of the storyline. It was the other way around. And then people start going, wait a minute. Can I be, bold and brave like him? Sign me up.
Yeah. People were actually listening
But
to
the
him.
things that Boimler was saying, your ships smell like...
Oh, yeah.
We don't
And
want
that's
to
what-
take it from the Klingons and the we just want to explore space and study quasars.
The doctor didn't spend 7 years in the Delta Quadrant for you to question his agency.
Yeah, he's like laying down
my
the
favorite.
truth. He's like
Yeah.
laying out the truth to everybody.
He just had it all pent up. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. But of course, that's
But-
the perfect time for Ransom to come along and see. Oh, there's a great booth.
There's a lineup
The booth.
at the booth.
Mariner's right where she's supposed to be, doing what she was asked to do. And
Boimler's having a
Boimler,
stomp fest on something. Yeah. So Boimler gets thrown in the brig, and on the way there, we see Kayshawn one more time. And
Oh, yeah.
he says, Koltar, when he drowned in the swamp. And
Yeah,
I started writing down the storylines, like a synopsis for each of these 2 storylines. And I have this would be a good thing for Kayshawn to reference. Mariner and Boimler at the recruitment booth. That's what I knew notes before I didn't even know he was going to be in this episode. And later I went, wow, that's something he would say.
Yeah. You're right. That's
yeah,
pretty funny.
you get the feeling because he made that statement in reference to Starbase 80. And the look on his face was like, yes, even he knows it's the worst.
And then, of course, Petra Aberdeen, the pirate lady, the archaeologist pirate lady, she reaches out to Mariner at the end to say, hey, you ever get tired of Starfleet?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Says goodbye. And then she has the option of keeping Petra's contact information or deleting it. And she ponders for a while and decides to keep it.
Yeah.
So that may be a foreshadowing as well.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed is like it bugs me every time because maybe somebody explained it at some point, or I don't know. Because they're always in the brig. In this case, Boimler is in the brig, and they always sit on the floor. They never stand in the 4 of them just sit on the floor and talk. There's that drawing of a castle over on the wall that's been there since the first season. It's just this little black marker drawing of a castle. It's like, what
someone's
is
got to
that?
explain that. Yeah.
What is that?
That's an Easter egg waiting to be explained.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts on Reflections? Boy, that sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I do. Let me think about that.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, say them out loud. I shouldn't externalize those thoughts.
Right.
All right. Let's rate this one from 1 to 10 butt bugs.
What? Oh, God.
That's what they said. One of the
I-
conspiracies of Starfleet is this guy's been infected by butt
No,
bugs.
that's
I
right.
think that one was real. Really?
Yeah.
So
Was
when
it?
as soon as I heard that, I went, "Oh, I know what
yeah.
our rating is for this episode."
That was funny. That's right. It was funny. I think those are real. That one was real.
All right. Well, then you start, Chuck, since
goody.
it's your rating system.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to throw it back at me. Humor factor right up there. Writing, scripting, well done. Storyline, loved it. The two did not really tie themselves together. The reflections obviously refer to Rutherford's reflection, but I didn't really quite get the reflection reference in the Mariner Boimler recruitment booth story, unless you think about they maybe traded.
Well, Boimler was
personas for
reflecting
a
on
while.
everybody's problems, or
Well, I mean, he was calming Mariner down in the first half, and then
Mhm.
he goes ballistic. So maybe there's a metaphor there.
And possibly the reflection that Mariner's having at the end of the episode as well.
Oh yeah, about her role in Starfleet.
Mm.
We know she's been unhappy.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go with 8 on this one. 8 butt bugs.
This is just so wrong. Just so
Yeah, it's so wrong.
Wait till the next one.
All right, Craig, you're next.
I was really Boimler and Mariner. That whole thing felt like a side story to me, but I really liked seeing Rutherford having to wrestle with his younger self, and of course get a little bit of a tease again for that for the reasons why he's got that
Dark
implant.
scene.
So I really did, and I really liked that whole thing. Even in the race, that they decided they were doing to one another to try, or with one another to try and figure out which one was going to overcome on top. I thought that was the whole thing was great. So I would totally give. I'm gonna say 8.5.
Okay. And for me, this was the episode I had been hoping for a couple of weeks. Like I said, the past few episodes I thought were okay, but this is really what I think of Lower Decks. I think of you have things going on multiple levels.
Mhm.
And so I really, really like this one. I'm going to rate this one the highest. I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it an 8.75.
Okay. Oh, you got to outdo us. I got it.
I do. When we get down to increments of 1/1000th, then things are going to get really weird.
That's
But,
right.
After 3 decimals, it's kind of meaningless.
Yes. All right, that was our first, but we have another episode of Lower Decks, and Chuck is going to
What?
walk us through some of the info.
I already scrolled past that in the show notes. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Maybe
Okay,
next time.
This is episode 6 of season 3 called Hear All, Trust Nothing, written by Grace Parajani. Most of her credits are in front of the camera or a microphone on shows such as BoJack Horseman, Broken, Superstore, White Guy Talk Show, How I Met Your Mother, and Frida Kahlo, junior marketing exec. She served as executive story editor on the series Broke and has written for Solar Opposites, Glory Days, and Jonas, among others. This is her first Trek script. So it's directed by Phil Mark Sagadraka. I'm going to go with that since I've never seen that name before. Most of his name is Phil, as in Fill. Interesting. Most of his credits are from time seated at an artist's workstation. Sagadraka, apologies for anybody who really knows his name. Please,
I like to order that at the Japanese bar.
No, you don't want that. It's spicy, though.
He's been a storyboard artist on everything from Sonic the Hedgehog 2 to DuckTales to the Simpsons movie. This is his second time directing Lower Decks. The other episode was Mining the Mind's Mines from earlier this season. Here's a short plot synopsis. The crew of the Cerritos visits Deep Space Nine, and boy, do you hear the theme over and over. They get caught up in a trade negotiation while Mariner attends an awkward get-together hosted by Jennifer's friends. Awkward being the operative word there.
That's right.
All righty. So once again, we have two main storylines going here.
Mhm.
I would even break that down into, I counted 5 sub-threads in this thing.
Would you consider Boimler's a sub-thread? Because it's really just like, we just go back and he's winning, and we go back and he's winning, and we go back and he's winning.
Well, the same could be said for Shax and Kira trading their IOU. No, you owe me. No, I bailed you out of that. It was,
Yeah.
I was really curious, especially after what you said a couple of weeks ago about how do they tie these things together. This one was a miracle to tie all this stuff together, and they did it spectacularly, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
I was paying attention to one aspect of it, because we know from San Diego Comic-Con and other interviews that Mariner, when Tanya Newsom first got the script, Mariner never sets foot on Deep Space Nine, and she was really upset about it because she's a huge Deep Space Nine fan.
Mhm.
So finally, Mike McMahon relented and rewrote the ending to get her onto the space station. Ends up she knows Quark and Kira.
That must have been pretty special, for some of these younger actors to work with Nana Visitor and Armin Shimmerman. And Morn. He was there.
Yeah,
he was there.
Who voiced Morn?
Blah, 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 blah.
Who voiced Morn?
I did note that Armin did not have his teeth in when he was reading his script, because his enunciation was,
his mouth sounded too clear.
Yeah.
He was saying S's rather than
Right. I noticed that the first time I was watching it was on a device that was not giving me a lot of sound. I say it doesn't even sound like Armin.
It didn't at first, and then you kind of picked up on, oh yeah, well, he's older and our voices change as we age. When you finally pick up and go, yeah, that's Armin Shimmerman. I was a little disappointed that he didn't have false teeth in for this. It would have been so much better reading.
He probably maybe kept him, from the show, and he could have just popped him in.
That's right.
So before the show, we were talking a little bit about the voice acting. The actor who played the male Orion, Mesk, I thought that was voiced by Rob Paulson, who also does a number of other characters, one that I'm more familiar with. And I thought I heard Mesk poking through to another character that Rob had done, Mark Chang from Fairly Odd Parents, the green alien. Oh boy, look at me. We are going to have a flight. I can't do a very good impression of him, but you kind of get that stilted tone of him. He was saying words in that kind of staccato phrase. I went, wow. And I had to look. I looked at the end credits, didn't see Rob Paulson's name on there, but
I wasn't getting Rob Paulson vibes. I was like, it sounds like they got I was trying to figure out what real actor they were using or something, because it sounded like just a regular person talking rather than a cartoony voice, which is what.
He was
Paulson
most of the time he was, but like when he started singing the Orion piratey song and whatnot,
right.
it was coming through stronger. So he had Tendi and the Orion mask, and he's kind of like over the top Orion on her, and she's like, not everybody does that, which we've seen her express before. She said, I'm not your typical Orion. That was getting unnerving, but at the same time, Rutherford was all gaga
over the top, being supportive and excited about every single thing under the sun. He was excited to go running up to the second floor to dangle his feet over the railing.
And every time he'd go, oh, look at there's Quarks. Ha.
Yeah.
He'd laugh about everything. I was like, it's kind of weird.
And then he says, at one point, he says, maybe I better tone that down, huh? And this next thing he does, he goes off on doing the same thing again.
Right.
So we had Boimler winning at Dabo like crazy. He was ready to clean the house out. And that
other Frankie was like about to have a heart attack.
Yeah, scanning him for cheating, and
then he offers him Quark's bucks.
I'm gonna go all in on this, and that
triple down.
I thought that Frankie was gonna have an aneurysm or something.
We had Captain Freeman and the Gamma Hydra Quadrant people, which originally were the Karima, and then later she says Karima. So we have another Mugatu thing.
She was new to the negotiation, so she was learning the pronunciation as she went along.
They were given this assignment by Admiral Buenamigo. I
Yeah.
think it's an awesome name.
Who definitely has no ties with Texas at all, even though he has a tiny little Alamo on the shelf next to him.
I
Right.
missed that. That's awesome. I watched it twice and I still didn't see that. I gotta really look for more
Hey,
Easter eggs on the second watch.
I saw an Easter egg that you haven't mentioned yet. You know,
What's
when they
that?
first walked into Quarks, you see the gift shop, which obviously
The
wasn't there in the
gift
show.
shop was
Yep.
priceless.
But in the gift shop is an actual box of the DS9 model.
Oh, I didn't see that. I was glued
Yes,
to
well,
the Ferengi ears. The lobes.
at the end of the episode, when Boimler is using his gift certificate
Quark
in the
box.
store, I
Yeah.
wrote down he's got with him the ears, like it's the hat. It's like a hat with the giant ears.
Yeah.
Make it look at Frankie.
Yeah.
A Quark figure, little action figure, a foam finger that says Quarks, a pennant that says Quarks.
Oh, he was walking out with all that junk.
Yeah,
Okay. I saw the junk go by. I didn't even see Boimler in there.
a necklace with Quark's head as the little pennant on it, a mug, and a Deep Space Nine snow globe.
I'm surprised he's not selling like fake Negus staff.
Well, they got to get they got to scan the one that Petra has brought back.
She stole in the last episode.
That's funny. Yeah.
That was fun. And then we have Shax and Kira trading jabs about who owes what and who
They
saved
didn't
who.
stop. They just kept on and
Yeah.
on.
They've been through a lot.
I told you
together.
I didn't. You know me.
I did like the line when they first walk into Colonel Kira's office and she says, wouldn't be Starfleet if they didn't throw you a curveball, and she's got Cisco's baseball with her.
Yep.
That was a nice touch.
To me, I thought the best touch when they arrive at Deep Space Nine was not the of the pylons, but I think that would have had more effect on us if we hadn't seen it in the trailer.
Just keep circling.
Yeah.
Was they arrive at Deep Space Nine and you have the music swelling and
Yes.
Shaq just says tacky Cardassian fascist eyesore.
That's what I heard him say something
Yeah.
something Cardassian eyesore. I couldn't even make it out.
I was like, why does he hate? Oh, I got it.
Ah,
Right,
you got
yeah.
it now, right? Oh, that's right. He's a Bajoran. Whoopsie.
Yep. That's right.
I made that connection. Like,
Oh,
nice.
And on DS9, I saw Bajorans everywhere. I didn't see any Starfleet at all. I mean, like,
yeah, I saw
in
Klingons
positions.
there as well.
I mean, in positions, like on the
Bat
on the
lefts
bridge.
are us store.
Well,
Wait a minute.
you wouldn't
Hold
have Starfleet in the bridge anymore because Cardassia is not part of the Federation.
Yeah.
Right.
And they turned. I thought they turned control over to Bajor of the station.
So why was
Which is why
Mesk
Kira was
in
in charge
security?
of it.
Why was Mesk even there in security?
I don't know.
I think there were a few. I just don't think it was prolific as it was when Cisco.
Well,
was in-
yeah, when they showed up on the bridge, there was none. No
Right.
Starfleet.
Right. Absolutely none of that. And
Yeah.
somebody
That
was
makes
just, fortunately, at that point was taking the time to show, oh, there's a transporter, by the way, right here, because there's
Yeah.
somebody transporting in.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, that was there the whole time and just inoperable.
No, they've
The,
used it several times on Deep
Yeah.
Space Nine, but it's
Yeah.
like, oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, yes, we know that it's there, and here's someone beaming in right
Right.
now.
That's right. And of course, Kira had to make a curveball joke with the baseball.
Yep.
Mhm.
We already said that.
Well, we had
No, you did.
we have
I'm sorry.
Batless are us on the
I
promenade.
loved that. That was a nice touch.
Kind of
And
a
Quark
odd
has a
nod to that.
new drink replicator, the Quark 2000.
Yeah, which is kind of funny because it's a throwback to those when all those things were called 2000, which
Yeah.
is probably in the 90s is when that it hit peak.
Yeah, peak 2000.
That'd be like us calling, this new technology the Drink Master 1350,
Mm.
which may or may not relate to the year.
Yeah, it could be something else.
Right. So we find out that this Quark 2000 was actually made with parts from the Gamma Quadrant.
Mhm.
So the Karima, whichever way you
The
prefer,
Caligari, yes.
calamari, they abduct Quark and take them on the ship. But Tendi and Rutherford and Mesk are stuck there already loading packages. Well, you say, hey,
Rutherford is going, hey, you can, Mesk, with all your pirating skills, you can take over the ship and get us saved.
he
And we
was
find
just
out
saying that, hey, Tendi, I'll bet we could take over this ship, the two of us. And then when push comes to shove, he breaks down and goes, I'm not
from
real-
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I was adopted by humans.
I know.
And then
That's
you
why I was like, Cincinnati. Come on.
Then you see Tendi come into her own.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
Because
goodness.
her parents were Orion pirates, syndicate and all, she says.
Yeah, her whole family is, because we've seen her go home and everybody, knows her.
Takes
And
this multi-tool that Mesk had and uses it to its fullest. I mean, she throws it at the
She was
door,
killing it.
and
Oh
he
my
says,
gosh.
I thought that was a wine screw. He didn't know what half the functions were on that thing.
And her response is quiet pirating.
Right. Yeah. Quiet party.
She
Yeah,
takes
she
over the
was-
ship just as it's about to enter the wormhole and stops right there.
Yeah,
So
she was
he gets
kicking
on-
butt.
get a tractor beam
at
on
the
it.
end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's an
that is-
Orion multi-key, which we've never seen before, but I think, is now part of lore that the Orions have multi-keys.
I'm going to start seeing them.
It's like the Swiss Army knife of Orion.
Meanwhile,
Hey, and
Mariner.
now, just announced on StarTrek.com, you can buy one.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
How
meanwhile,
many people were disappointed
I'll
that
get-
they didn't go a bit into the wormhole though? It's like hear Ben's voice. Just come on, you're almost there. Come on.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can get Brad to do a 3D print of one for me.
The
Give him
voice,
those multi-tools. No, the
the wormhole.
Orion multi-tool.
Yeah, the
Oh,
wormhole. 3D
okay.
print of the wormhole. Full
Yeah,
size.
3D
Yeah.
print the wormhole.
Hey,
Try to keep
so
up, Greg.
getting to the salon.
Mariner and Jennifer's friends.
Yeah.
It's not a party. It's a salon.
I like the line as they were starting to tell stories. The one girl said, "It was a dark and stormy stardate 56331."
Yes.
I was like, "What?"
I think my favorite was the one that took out. She's in this leotard. Says,
Oh yeah,
I call this the Kobayashi maroon.
Maroon.
and top,
There's no
interpretive
right
dance.
way to dance it.
Yeah, the interpretive dance thing. Yeah,
And
There's
she's
no
wearing
way
all
to-
maroon when she's
Right.
dancing.
Kobayashi maroon. There's no right way to dance it.
But we find out that, Mariner, having been told that she's bossy by her friends who laugh
And-
at her when she says she's not.
And contra. Yeah. Oh,
they're like, good one, yeah,
Good one, boss.
lady.
right.
So she decides, okay, I'm going to play nice and get along and just, be chill and not make a fuss and not
It
make
doesn't work.
waves. And it's not working to begin with, but when all of a sudden, all the power goes out on Deep Space Nine and the
ship.
Cerritos, and I'm thinking to myself, what the heck kind of weapon is this that these guys have, and why didn't the Dominion use it? It's like
Yeah.
for crying out loud.
Yeah,
You throw it at
actually,
one
it shut down the
console and
station.
everything
It shut down
dead.
not just the station, but the Cerritos.
Which is just docked there. I mean, maybe it was tied into the systems or not, but it's like, man.
But it
gee.
didn't knock out their ship, so that was interesting. Maybe they have some sort of diode at the power coupling or something.
Yeah.
And Jennifer says, well, as her friends call her Jenny, she says, that's the reason I like you, Mariners, because you're forceful and you're outgoing and you're. She starts. She looks at the scented candles that they were making before, spiritual candles, whatever they were. And she says they're sucking up all the oxygen, and all the other girls are panicking. And Mariner's trying to take control.
Right.
And she says, well, maybe I shouldn't. And Jennifer tells her, that's one of the things I like about you. You're strong and forceful. So she starts phasering Jennifer's friend.
Yeah, she just
Yeah.
is like unstun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
the
done with
idea
you
is
guys.
that
No,
they'll use less oxygen when they're unconscious. So see, it's logical.
It's
makes
logical.
sense.
But then she goes full Mariner, running around, screaming.
right.
This wasn't on my bucket list today. That was a pretty good scene. And then they get to the end and say, well, I'm noticing the only two people that aren't stunned are you and me. So bad, what did she say? Bad picture or bad vibe or whatever it was. So stun themselves and go out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun. I
So
just like the line. Good
So-
quark. Just keep circling.
And I
Quark-
don't know if I didn't get a chance to look this up. Did we get a new rule of acquisition? Because we got number 9, opportunity
9.
plus instinct equals profit. And I don't know if
Right.
that was a
Oh,
new
take a
one.
drink. You said profit.
Yeah, well, I didn't say
The
the plural.
yeah. Oh, I said it. Oh, dang it.
So I should look up.
I get the feeling number 9 was already defined.
Probably the opportunity plus instinct equals profit.
I mean, it seems like one that would be very,
Hey, wait.
early on done.
Wait,
But
wait. You missed a big point.
Yes.
So Quark actually got busted, and he had to turn over 76% of his franchise profits.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I'm thinking
That's a
okay,
lot.
Beckett, okay, no, Captain Freeman.
Okay.
Okay, give them some, but more than 3/4
I
of the
know.
profits?
I
It
was
was
like,
so
you
we
gotta
can
be
have a
kidding me.
simpering Ferengi at the end. Quark is. Well, you said it's better to be poor than dead, or yeah. What was it? Poor than in prison or poor than dead? I forgot which one it was, but he goes, "No." He does this great scream.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know Ferengis very well, do you?
Isn't this better? No.
He did let out a wonderful Quark scream during the episode. I forgot where it was. We hear this. Ah! I think it was when he was being abducted or something.
Yeah, when all the lights go out.
Yeah.
He screams.
Right.
I think
I actually wrote that.
He can
Quark
still do
screaming.
it. Thank you, Armin, for the nice throwback.
Does he
Unless it
also
was a
scream when,
soundbite from old show.
Does he also scream when at the very end when Kira is trying to get the hologram back and he's trying to eat it? and
Oh,
she was
yes,
running
he
after
does.
him?
Yes. So, yeah, Mariner did not get a chance to go to DS9 until the very end, which, again, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for these younger actors to interact with the DS9 regime and many of the others. I mean, we've seen, Jonathan Frakes and some of the others. So, a
And
lot of
Marina.
fun. Yep.
And it also plays into something we haven't had much of a while. Remember in the first season, it was she'd always been everywhere and done everything.
Mhm.
So to have that tie back in of, she already knows Quark and she knows Kira already,
Yeah.
is a nice tie back to all those kind of, where hasn't she been type of thing. Who doesn't she know?
No kidding. She probably can knows all the Obsidian Order.
Let's you rate this one?
Yep. Time to rate it. So should I ask you if you had a rating system? If not, I'm
Candles.
going to go with candles.
Candles.
Okay, we'll go with candles.
Helium candles.
All right.
Weren't they helium candles? I think they said.
No, they were.
So I was sucking the
You were
air out of the
supposed
room
to
so much.
You were supposed to state your intent, otherwise it's just a waste of wax.
Right. So it's like making an affirmation type, or
okay.
So
Almost like a prayer candle kind of thing.
Oh.
all right. So I am going to rate this on candles. I liked it an awful lot. I am going to rate it a bit lower than the last episode because it moved character.
0.74.
Yeah, really. See, I told you we get into those fractions. I'm going to give this one an 8.25. I'm going to go like a half a point lower on this one. I really liked it, and I like the character. I love the character development for Tendi.
Yes.
That we've got hints. We've seen her go to the planet. We've seen her like just swear out that she doesn't do that anymore. But clearly, she knows all the moves. So don't question her about it.
Yeah, like it's been bubbling just under the surface this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she gets to just like, and she also gets to state in that when she's talking to Mesk to say, don't fall into the trap of trying to be what other people seem to believe you are, be yourself. And it's like, she's giving him the same advice that she herself has made. She's gone her own direction and not taken up that lifestyle. So I liked that an awful lot. I really liked the stuff on Deep Space Nine, but I felt like a lot of it was the filler around the Tendi story, and it was taking place in conjunction with Deep Space Nine. So that's why I'm rating it a bit lower. Okay, so we'll go reverse order, and I will say, so Craig is next.
I'm going to give it a total 9 because the DS9 stuff did not disappoint at all. We knew it was coming, and it was fun, especially when Quark and Kira open their mouths and you hear their voices again and the characters. That was the whole thing. I thought was great, and I did like the storyline with Tendi. So yeah, I think I thought this is a great episode.
My problem with them doing the voices is I've seen them recently, so I picture, Nana visitor of today standing in front of a microphone, unfortunately. So the illusion was kind of broken, but it was still very, very fun.
Yeah.
It was a fun episode, had a lot of elements. I like the way they tied it together. You're right, Clinton. The whole Boimler at the Dabo table was filler material. It didn't have anything really to
Oh, yeah.
do with the storyline. But
Except for he was giving that Ferengi a hard time, a heart attack.
you definitely got the full story that Shax and Kira have history.
Yes, absolutely.
There was nothing missing about that storyline. I'm gonna rate it a little lower too because of the filler material. It was very good. What did I say last time? 8.5? I think it was 8.5.
You had 8 on the last episode.
No, I had 8. I had 8 on the last. Then I'll give this one an 8.
I wrote it down. Actually, I got it right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Send it to listener Diane.
There you go.
I will.
All right. So 8
All right.
candles.
Okay. Now those are our ratings on these 2 episodes, but you may have a different rating or some additional thoughts on these 2 episodes. So feel free to leave a comment over on our Facebook page, facebook.com/thetopicIstrek. We'd love to hear from you about that. And that brings us back from our main mission with an appropriate sound effect.
Ah.
Wow.
All right. One of us is a Klingon.
Yeah, but which one? Dun,
Yeah,
dun,
that's right.
dun.
Klingon in.
It's the new makeup. And it's time for a warp speed roundtable. But before we discuss this week's topic, a few weeks ago, listener Tom wrote in with a few things about a few things we discussed in episode 121. So I'd like
Right.
to talk about those or give you his thoughts. He says, first, on our warp speed roundtable question, which planet in the Star Trek universe would you like to visit?
Mhm.
Tom votes for Bajor, saying he'd like to visit, quote, the religious retreats, ancient ruins, and the beautiful nature areas.
Yeah.
How timely with this episode. too.
I know,
Indeed.
right? Yeah.
And he also chimed in on our discussions of Hoshi Sato and T'Pol. Regarding Sato, Tom wrote, think back to the ancient RPG games we grew up playing.
Ancient
Hoshi-
RPG games.
Right.
I know at
Ancient.
this point from ages ago. Hoshi is the level 0 character that needs to learn everything outside her area of expertise. We are supposed to be learning about this period of exploration through her eyes. And with regards to T'Pol, Tom said, these Vulcans are not the same Vulcans we know from TOS, TNG, and so forth. In Enterprise, they meet T'Pau as a young follower of the Cyrenite movement, which helped to reform Vulcan society by bringing forth the true teachings of the ancient Vulcan philosopher Surak. They have not adopted the fully logical, never lie attitude.
Mm.
So thank you, Tom. And if you have thoughts about anything
All
we
right.
discuss here on the show, feel free to leave us a note on our Facebook page, or you can even send us an email at thetopicistrek@gmail.com if you'd like to.
No spaces.
No spaces in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about space, but don't put
Oh, yeah.
spaces in the.
We may
you know,
talk about space.
Yeah, but
Right.
we're from Iowa. No, that's a different thing altogether. All right.
Only work in space.
Or Cincinnati. Cincinnati. Also.
Cincinnati.
So this time around, our Warp Speed Roundtable is if you could visit one in-universe Star Trek location, what would it be?
Just one?
Just
Oh,
one.
man, I had a list.
Well,
Well, I guess SETI Alpha 5 is off the list.
Yeah.
this is SETI Alpha 5.
Before the disaster.
Oh, okay. Oh, before the disaster. Well, it's a paradise. Okay.
Be sure to wear your goggles.
All right. What about you, Craig?
And I think it was too much of a giveaway to say Risa because we kind of had a similar question, like Tom said, where would you like to visit? It was too easy to say Risa before. Did you know that there is a Cerritos, California?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's a California class.
California class.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I forgot
Well-
where I got that. It was like some Google Maps thing came up and I went, what? That's a
What was,
thing.
what was the other one?
Because
the
we
other
had
week?
we had the Valencia, and I believe, and we had
Carlsbad. The Carlsbad.
Carlsbad,
Carlsbad,
right?
yes. Okay. I see where they're going with this.
Yeah.
So that's why the California class.
Are we gonna have like a
That's what Craig
Eureka
said.
and okay. The place that I would like to go then.
Is Cerritos, California? I don't think
no,
so.
I was
Carlsbad?
originally gonna say the Cerritos ship, but I'm thinking Starfleet Academy.
Ooh,
That's where I would like to go.
nice.
Okay.
Okay. What about you, Craig?
I think I want to go to Vulcan and experience the religious retreats, ancient ruins, and beautiful
then-
nature areas.
I don't know about beautiful nature areas of
Gravity?
Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the scenery
Gotta take some sunscreen, but
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of sunscreen.
and some something to hold you up. The gravity is a killer.
No, I was always fascinated with Spock, and I thought it would be cool to go to Vulcan, and see the sights from Mount Salea and hang
Climb
out.
the steps.
Yeah.
You don't want to do
Ah,
that. You don't
yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah.
All right. I am going to take a different tact with this one. I would like to visit the one place I'd like to visit in universe is a hollow suite.
And
Then I
then he
keep it any
goes,
place
he goes
I
in
can
the
go
hollow suite
anywhere.
to visit 21st century Earth.
Yeah.
Nice move, Clinton.
Well,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
some flaws in the program. I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't really thought of this all the way through.
I think
yet,
you're
but
actually in the hologram or the holodeck right now.
I am. No, I'm at Deep Space Nine with the Cerritos. See? All right. Now the question is to you out there. If you could visit one in-universe Star Trek location, what would it be? Any
Omicron
place?
Theta.
Okay. I mean, don't like say a star, because then you kind of like,
A star. No,
Just
Omicron
kinda-
Theta. That's where they found data.
oh, Theta Data stars.
Yeah.
Okay, got that.
Theta, Data, Beta.
All right. Well, with that said, it's time to refill the dilithium chamber and warp on out of here. You can find me, Clinton, over at Comedy Forecast, all one word with the number 4.com. Oh, we've also got an opinion right now from listener Diane about where she'd like to visit. So can
Oh.
we get that up on the screen?
Good
there?
answer. Good answer.
Listener
Chateau
Diane says
Picard.
Chateau Picard.
Now you're talking about topside or in the tunnels? That's
Oh my goodness, I don't think anybody wants to go into the tunnels. No,
No.
no,
I'll be
no,
in.
no.
Well, the tunnels are where they age the wine, so that's not a bad place to be.
Yeah, well, other things went on in the tunnels that we don't really. So
Stardate 52312 is a great year for.
I never drink anything between 5.3, 1.53, 5.2.6 and point.
I've-
Never mind.
I think you've had enough, sir.
Yes,
to leave the
indeed.
bar.
You're cut off until 6531.7. All right, and who speaks
may-
for you guys?
You may call you a shuttle home.
Who speaks for us? Morn.
Oh my goodness! Well, we just can't. We don't have time for all of that. He just blabs on and on and on.
Yeah,
and
he
on and
just
on.
doesn't stop, does he? You can find us by searching for Technorama Podcast in your favorite search engine. That will take you to our website, chuckchat.com, or Facebook page, or any other place. We'd love to have you hang out with us on Sunday nights as we do the show live, 9:30 Eastern, on Facebook and YouTube. Technorama Podcast.
All righty. All that said, it's time to hit the theme, boys.
Got it.
If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter at The Topic is Trek, visit our Facebook page, or visit thetopicistrek.com. Until next time, on behalf of Chuck, Craig, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek, don't
Don't
put
put
on
on
the
the
red
red shirt.
Just like me. Look.
I got nothing.
Hailing frequencies closed.
I meant to say, don't put on a red shirt like I didn't.
You've got a cool flap, though. See that?
That ending theme is very Deep Space Nine-ish.
Indeed.
Actually, I thought when we started the show tonight, I was like, our theme song sounds very much like Deep Space Nine. That's what I was
This
thinking.
one? The opening? Or the closing?
No, that opening one sounds like, because you got that
Yeah.
little trumpet kind of thing going on.
Yeah, okay. But then it's a little more upbeat right there.
Yeah, it's a
Well,
little
that's
bit.
in the other.
Beginning
That's,
does.
that's when the following seasons of Deep Space Nine, when they said we're going to keep it the
Yeah.
same, but we're going to put that dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
That was-
dun, dun.
That's the theme for the comic that's coming out.
Right.
Theme
But I
for
think
the-
it's time for us to end the live feed
I think so
at
too.
this
So
point.
thank you everybody for watching. Take care. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.